Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy, Paulo Castro, back at it again with another video. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. And to my dozens of YouTube fans, I got a special request. This one from my mom, believe it or not. She just kind of hit me up out of the blue one day and wanted to know a little bit more about a particular subject area. And it's actually something that's been making the rounds on the interbuts as of late. So I figured we'd give it a little discussion here. So the 1921 Tulsa Massacre. A lot of people don't know what that is. So let me give you a little background. So we're over in the great state of Oklahoma. And I say that because as of late, Oklahoma has made a lot of questionable decisions, both in the terms of women's reproductive rights and also about not teaching what I'm about to tell you guys about, because, you know, we don't want to make people feel awkward. But here's what happens. Oklahoma, late 1800s, gets an oil boom, increase in business, and Oklahoma was a very heavily racially segregated state, but some people traveled, you know, far and wide to strike it rich. You know, whether it's a silver mine, a gold mine, in this case oil, people are going to uproot where they live at a chance of making it big. And Oklahoma had some very severe segregation laws, as did many states at that time. But Oklahoma was pretty severe in its toughness of enforcement of the laws. You know, typically you think like Mississippi, Alabama, but Oklahoma was a pretty, tough place to live if you were a person of color. And large amounts of African Americans moved there. Now, because of those tough segregation laws, African Americans had to rely pretty much on themselves. So what this does is it creates kind of this, I'm going to use the word microcosm because it sounds good. Not sure if I'm using it right, but like I said, it sounds good. And I'm no wordsmith, so we'll go with that. So they kind of create this microcosm of a black community in which the members are, by default, they have to spend the money within their community. So what this does is it creates a great amount of economic growth, because the services that they would normally need, like a barber shop, a clothing shop, a general store, they weren't available. So what would happen is people would have to pool their resources, make investments. And there was a gentleman, I just want to make sure I get his name right here. There was a gentleman by the name of J.B. Stratford, who was considered to be one of the wealthiest African Americans in the country at the time. What he started doing was buying property, vacant lots, and either building housing or places of business, and turning around and selling those, making investments again within the black community. And as this community began to grow and grow, it actually starts to border, physically border up against the white neighborhoods, and this is creating some tension. So what happens with the Tulsa Massacre is there's a 19-year-old African-American male who, from the research I did, it sounded like he tripped over a white girl, 17-year-old white girl. Not a big deal, just kind of like one of those, we've all kind of fucked around. We've bumped into people on elevators or coming in and out of the building. So it's just kind of one of those like, oh, sorry, my bad. All right. Even the white girl didn't think it was that big of a deal, at least according to what I've read. But there was an eyewitness who saw this and was just, oh, this black man assaulted a white woman. So they wound up arresting this kid. And I can say that because I'm much older than him. So 19 years old, as he's waiting in in police holding, a large mob. See, here's the thing. Because of that resentment of, you got racial issues, resentment that not only are you people here, but you're thriving, you're growing, you're putting us to shame. That kind of anger as we start to see, build, and you just need a spark. It's a powder keg ready to go. So here's what happens: they're holding this black kid in the local, say, sheriff's office, and a large mob of white dudes show up, because that's what's going to solve justice problems. Is we're going to show up and we're going to lynch this kid. About 40 businessmen, African American businessmen, roll up and they're like, "No, this isn't happening. We'll let the justice system work it out, but you're not going to lynch this kid." So the police department at the time was able to kind of move the crowds. All right, everybody break it up. There's a gunshot, and much like a lot of other events in history, you know, each side blames the other side. But this, boom, powder keg gets lit. Dozens and dozens of people hurt, killed, businesses destroyed. They basically leveled this town. You know, it was almost as if somebody went in with an eraser and tried to erase the everything that was built in that town. And then it was quietly and quickly covered up. You know, one of the recurring things that I hear over and over again is people going, yeah, I didn't know that happened. Yeah, I didn't know that happened. Yeah, I didn't know that happened. What's really funky is if you were to do a little research and you were to come across dozens of, whether you want to call them race riots, rebellions, armed conflicts, you know, in so many communities. Now, the part modern day that kind of gets me all fired up is there's this kind of move. Now, I try to live my life in a balance. You know, I don't want to go too far right. I don't want to go too far left. I try to maintain things in the center. And there's two movements that have irritated me in two different ways. One is you know, here I am, I'm a white male talking about a race riot. You know, I shouldn't do that. You should leave that to somebody else. You know, you're white, you're guilty, this, that. I don't feel that way. As a person who loves history, I'll always give you the good, the bad, the ugly. On the other side is this bullshit movement of, no, nothing bad happened in America. You know, this was all sunshine and rainbows and lollipops, and this was a pristine land. Nobody was here, and white people just came and built this amazing country with no help from anybody. And, you know, we should only talk about the good things in history and only the stuff that makes us smile and makes the bald eagles land. And I wish I had an animation of a flag flapping in the background. No, that's bullshit. When you're studying history, history is a combination of, I said it before, I'll say it again, the good, the bad, the ugly. Embracing history, understanding the who's, the what's, the whys, the hows. It sounds cliche, but if you ignore your past, you doom your future. Because when you look at countries that have gone through this kind of revisionist history nonsense, where they're only going to focus on the good, the bad never happened, there's never been anything ugly that's happened here, it really doesn't work out for the people in the long run. And at the end of the day, you really got to ask yourself, well, what's the hidden curriculum? Why are they doing this? And for some folks, it's a very nefarious, I don't want to say plot, but it's a nefarious set of circumstances where if you deny what happened, if you lie about what happened, and you tell the lie long enough, then the lie becomes the truth. And you can't let that happen. Not to make things political, but Donald Trump made, you know, in the last couple months of his bid for election, or re-election, I should say, he wanted to set up, to me it almost sounded like a truth commission. Like they were going to go around and basically remove any books. If it wasn't red, white, and blue, big patriotic hard-on for everybody, if it wasn't that, like a book like Howard Zinn, People's History of the United States. Did I get that right? Look up Howard Zinn. His book's amazing. Again, good, bad, ugly, cannibalism, sexism, racism, xenophobia, all the funky stuff that I personally find interesting. Nope, these things didn't happen. It's only going to be sunshine and rainbows from here on out. That's that bullshit. That's not how you teach history. And personally, I find it offensive. You know, that's not our history. Yes, there's good stuff, there's bad stuff, there's some questionable calls made there. And the reason why you need to know all these, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, I keep coming back to that. If you had me for history, I always say that, the good, the bad, the ugly. If you're able to have an honest conversation, this isn't about guilt or assessing blame or who did what first. This is understanding what happened in order to prevent further problems. And if you're if you're not going to be an active participant in trying to make things better for the next generation, then you're just kind of in the way. Please, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to leave any comments, get a conversation going, please feel free to leave comments below, and I'll see you guys down the road. Have a happy day.